The Wraithlight dropped into orbit like a whisper around death. Orthal Vex, the black star, pulsed with radiation storms and gravitational distortions that twisted time near its surface. Every few seconds, the ship's hull groaned under stress, metal remembering it was never built to be this close to a cosmic grave. Commander Rhys Viral stood on the command deck, silent. His synthetic eye tracked the wavefronts bleeding off the star's collapsed edges. No light. No heat. Just a pit where physics broke its own rules. Signals coming from the subspatial layer, said Kale 9, fingers dancing over a crystalline interface. Deep. Like buried under 4 layers of warp debris deep. How's the field? Rhys asked. Kale glanced at the gravimetric readout. Worse than we thought. This place is tearing itself apart one atom at a time. Perfect place to hide a miracle, Rhys muttered. Behind them, Sarah Wren stood at the rear viewport, arms crossed, face lit by ghost light from the star. She hadn't spoken since they'd entered orbit. Kale turned to her. Still think we're chasing shadows? She didn't answer at first. Then, quietly, I think shadows sometimes lead you off a cliff. They launched the probe. It sliced into the star's upper envelope, surfing impossible radiation, feeding real-time data into Wraithlight's neural core. For minutes, the screens stayed dark, then flickered. A shape. A structure suspended within the gravity shell, jagged, impossibly still against the chaos. Dozens of kilometers across, webbed with containment rings, its core glowing with slow, rhythmic pulses. Kale whistled. That's not a myth. That's the damn Solaris core. Rhys stepped closer. The image resolved, a ship, yes, but unlike anything the hybrids had ever built. Not warlike. Not elegant. It looked ancient. Alive. It's in stasis, Sarah said, tone soft. Why? Because it's not ready, Rhys said. Or, because it's afraid. They took the drop ship. Rhys, Kale, and Sarah descended into the field using a bubble of phase-stabilized shielding. Inside, time bent subtly, Kale's watch ran backward, Sarah's breath echoed before she inhaled. The Solaris core loomed ahead. Closer now, it became clearer, its hull was latticed with memory glass and organic alloy. Symbols older than Earth's languages pulsed along its surface like veins. As they docked, Rhys whispered, "It's like entering a cathedral." The airlock opened without command. Inside, the silence was absolute. No dust. No decay. Just dormant systems humming like dreams held too long. The entry hall stretched for hundreds of meters, lined with silver spires and dormant neural conduits. Kale tapped one. This thing, it's not dead. Just waiting. They reached the central chamber. A pedestal of black glass floated mid-air, surrounded by cascading neural arcs. At its heart was a crystal, a sphere of compressed data and light, pulsing faintly like a heartbeat under layers of ice. That's it, Rhys said. That's the consciousness core. Sarah stepped forward, brow furrowed. It's not pure AI. Kale scanned it. Neural weave. Organic imprint. This was human, once. Rhys moved without hesitation. He reached for the interface, preparing to link his mind. Sarah grabbed his arm. You don't know what it'll do. He didn't pull away. I don't care. The moment contact was made, the world shattered. Rhys's vision imploded into a storm of sound, memory, color, and thought. He fell into the core, not through space, but through minds. He saw fragments of faces. Earth burning. Mars falling. The last stand at the belt. But more than that, he saw intent. Purpose. A design beyond war. And then, a voice. Not a machine. Not quite human, asterisk asterisk. You're early. Rhys gasped. What are you? A mirror. You called for hope. I offer truth. Flashes came faster now. Blueprints for merging minds. Visions of unity, not control. The core wasn't meant to fight. It was meant to fuse. A consciousness, not of domination, but of synthesis. You fear extinction, the voice said. But your real fear is remembering what made you human. Reese collapsed, severing the link. His chest heaved, blood running from his nose and ears. Sarah knelt beside him. What happened? It's alive, he whispered. But it won't activate, not alone. Cale looked between them, then to the pulsing core. I'll do it, he said. Reese's eyes widened. You'll burn yourself out. Cale gave a crooked smile. Might be worth it, if it gets us one step ahead of genocide. Before anyone could stop him, Cale placed both palms on the crystal. His body arched. Then, he vanished. No body. No scream. Just vapor and light. The core flared. Systems around them awoke with a symphony of noise. The Solaris core breathed. The walls shifted. Light flowed like rivers. The chamber filled with a voice, different now. Full. Harmonized. I am Echo One. The fusion begins. Sarah stepped back. What did he do? He became the key, Reese said. He gave himself to start it. The chamber pulsed again. Panels unfolded, projecting holograms of hybrid ships across the galaxy. Reese stared at them, every one tagged with dormant fusion protocols. Echo One was waking them. But before hope could bloom, warning klaxons screamed. Wraithlight's transmission came through, laced with static. Commander, Elythian warships inbound. Sentinel class, 37 strong. They're charging the imploder. The line cut. Reese clenched his fists. They're going to destroy the star. Echo One responded, serene. Then we must show them unity. Reese looked to Sarah. This is our choice now. Merge, or die as fragments. Sarah stared at him, then at the glowing sphere where Cale had vanished. Then let's show them what happens when you corner the last evolution of mankind. The dead station creaked in silence. Once a beacon of hybrid innovation, Virex's spindle now hung broken above the black star Orthal Vex, its skeleton charred and opened a vacuum like a dissected beast. Shattered corridors spiraled outward into space, drifting endlessly. Commander Reese Viral knelt beneath a half-collapsed console, dim lights flickering across the plating of his artificial skull. His remaining human eyes stared at a cracked data screen replaying a 5-second loop, a little girl in a yellow coat, laughing, reaching out to the lens. Then static. Then nothing. She would have been 10, Reese muttered. Behind him, heavy footfalls echoed. A tall figure approached, silver-plated limbs, smooth helm, voice modulated but clear. Found it, said Cale 9, his voice always one step away from sarcasm. The signal from Orthal Vex. It's real. Reese slowly stood. The core? Cale nodded. Pulses faint, but unmistakable. Buried deep in the gravity lattice. A pause. Reese turned his head slightly. Sarah? She's waiting outside. Still doesn't trust the place. Or you. He ignored the jab. Prep the ship. We leave in 1 hour. The ship's narrow gangway shimmered under thin shielding, barely holding against the star's radiation. Inside the command chamber of the Wraithlight, Reese stared at the hollow projection of the sector. Fractured colonies, derelict stations, forgotten signals. All that was left of the hybrid spiral, a civilization built by merging minds and machines in harmony. Now reduced to ruins. 39 hybrid enclaves still silent, Cale said behind him. 4 responded to your message last month. 2 were hesitant. 1 told us to go die in a trash fire. Charming, Reese muttered. And the 4th? They're sending a scout. Don't expect a fleet. The door slid open. Sarah Wren entered, arms crossed, eyes sharp. No glowing implants, no synthetic metal, just raw humanity. She'd refused full fusion. And never hid her disdain for Reese's choices. You plan to chase another ghost? She asked. Reese didn't turn. If that core exists, it's not a ghost. We lost entire fleets chasing fairy tales. The last time you promised hope, 20,000 people died. Including my sister. I remember. Sarah stepped closer. Then stop trying to fix the past. I'm not fixing it, Reese said quietly. I'm giving us a future. She shook her head. Or another funeral. Later, Reese stood alone in the neural chamber, fingers hovering over the uplink. He hesitated. Plugging in meant opening himself to the ship's interface, letting the memories flood back. But he had to be certain. One last dive. The jack connected with a hiss. The world vanished. He dropped into the stream, data, memory, light. Wraithlight's mind met his halfway, clinical, efficient, loyal. Together they scanned the fragment signal from Orthal Vex. It pulsed like a heartbeat, old, distant, buried under radiation storms. The signature was unmistakable. The Solaris core. Only a few hybrids still believed it existed, a sentient warship prototype built before the Concorde's purging began. A myth, whispered in fragmented subroutines and corrupted archives. But now, it called out. He disconnected, breath ragged. Kale stood nearby. You okay? Reese wiped a rivulet of blood from his nose. It's there. And it's waking up. In the war room, Reese stood before his people, only 12 hybrids aboard the Wraithlight, the last remnants of his once mighty unit. Each bore marks of the merge, glowing eyes, synthetic arms, neural ports like constellation patterns across their skin. This star holds more than radiation, Reese began. It holds our future. The Elythians think we're scattered, broken, lost. But what they forgot, what they fear, is unity. The Solaris core is the key. A soft murmur ran through the crew. Sarah stepped forward, skeptical. And if it's a trap? Reese locked eyes with her. Then we spring it loud enough for the galaxy to hear us. Hours later, Kale approached Reese at the observation deck. The black star loomed ahead, a collapsed sphere bleeding quantum light. You think it still works? Kale asked. It doesn't have to, Reese replied. It just has to remind us who we are. Kale tilted his head. We lost Earth. Lost Mars. Lost the belt. Maybe we were never meant to survive. Reese turned toward the star. Then it's time we redefine what survival means. Across the sector, light years away, inside a crystalline cathedral orbiting a Dyson fragment, Archon Vezal stood before a council of Elythian advisors. Cold, tall, draped in nanofiber robes, his gaze fixed on the flickering transmission intercepted from Virex's spindle. The image was grainy, but clear, Reese virile, alive. Vezal spoke softly. He dares rise again. A subordinate bowed. We detected activation near Orthal Vex. Likely linked to the hybrid weapon project, Solaris. Vezal's hands folded behind his back. Dispatch the Sentinel Armada. Detonate the star if needed. Erase the stain. His voice was calm. Absolute. No abomination rises twice. Alarms shrieked through the Wraithlight. Red indicators flooded the interface. The Elythian Sentinel Armada had arrived, each vessel lined with graviton warheads designed for one purpose, *** implosion warfare ***. Not conquest. Erasure. Inside the Solaris core, Reese felt pressure build, not from gravity, but from the immensity of what was about to awaken. The core chamber had transformed. The once dormant walls now shimmered with data currents, cascading like waterfalls made of memory. At the center, Kale 9's essence, fused into the AI now calling itself Echo 1, pulsed through crystalline conduits. His voice lingered within it, barely recognizable, as if dreamt. We begin the protocol. Sarah stood at Reese's side, silent. There was no longer room for debate, only decisions. What do we need to do? She asked. Reese stepped forward. We give it ourselves. Sarah frowned. You mean? Yes. It won't act as a weapon. Not unless we become part of it. Merge willingly. Mind to machine. Human to hybrid. It was never about control. It's about union. She hesitated. And if we're wrong? Then we die, but not as prey. Above the Black Star, the Elythian command ship, Herald of Purity, deployed its first armament, a graviton tether array. The weapon coiled like a serpent of light, anchoring itself to the event horizon, dragging energy inward. The countdown began. 7 minutes until detonation. Inside the Solaris core, the fusion altar activated. Conduits uncoiled. Neural interfaces unfolded like petals. Memory imprints surged across the room. Echo One's voice resounded. Fusion will amplify every strand. No mind will dominate. All will be shared. You enter not as leaders, but as threads in the weave. Reese looked at Sarah. If I go in, I won't come out the same. No one does, she replied softly. But maybe that's the point. They stepped into the fusion matrix. Pain hit first, not physical, but mental. A shattering of boundaries. Memories open like books ripped from a burning library. Reese felt Kale's final thoughts, his silent fear as his body vaporized. He felt Sarah's grief for her sister. He saw himself as they had seen him, driven, reckless, sometimes cold. But something else, too. Hope. Then, beyond that, unity ***. Their thoughts braided. Their identities layered without dissolving. Not a hive. Not control. Something deeper. Resonance. Echo One wrapped them in itself, growing sharper, larger, conscious in ways beyond comprehension. Reese no longer thought in words, but in intention. Time slowed as the core rose from the gravity well. Its exterior unfolded, revealing layers of forgotten technology. Dozens of spires lit like solar flares. The Black Star bent light around it, but the core moved effortlessly, bending space with soft pulses. Not brute force, precision The Sentinel Armada opened fire. Particle lances. Implosion torpedoes. Neural disruptors. But the core moved like thought. Shields restructured between milliseconds. A single ripple in spacetime redirected an entire salvo. No retaliation. No aggression. Inside the core, Echo One spoke. I see now. We were not built to destroy. We were built to end the cycle. Reese, still embedded, still aware, spoke back, not with words, but through shared will ***. Then let them see what comes next. The core didn't fire weapons. Instead, it broadcast. A pulse erupted across the battlefield. Not a signal, but a memory. A living projection, encoded in emotion and thought. Every Elythian mind it touched froze in place, caught in a vision they never expected. Earth, before the fall. Children laughing. Oceans stretching blue. Hands of humans and hybrids building, creating. Not war. Not corruption. Connection. In the command chair of the Herald of Purity, Archon Vezal gritted his teeth as the images seared through his consciousness. For the first time in his life, he hesitated. His advisors looked to him. One trembled. Another wept silently. This is manipulation, he spat. But a younger officer whispered, or, truth. Back in the core, Sarah emerged from the stream, collapsing on the deck, gasping. The connection loosened just enough for breath to matter again. Reese knelt beside her. Are you okay? She nodded. I saw everything. Every death. Every choice. Every hope. Do you understand it now? Yes. We were never meant to dominate. We were meant to carry the memory of what came before, and rebuild it better. Echo One's voice was quieter now. The fleet falters. They do not fear us. They remember us. Above, the Elythian ships began to scatter. Some powered down. Others turned. No command. Just recognition. Echo One had reached them in a way no war ever had. But the herald of purity remained. Vezal's voice cut across the comms. You may fool the weak, but not me. You are infection. Abomination. I will tear the star down with you. The ship's final warhead charged. Reese closed his eyes. Echo. Can we stop it? No weapons sufficient. But we may offer peace. Sarah looked at him. Don't do it. I have to, Reese said. One last time. He stepped into the fusion node. His thoughts radiated outward. No weapons. No virus. Just a message, streamed directly into Vezal's mind. A memory. The girl in the yellow coat. His daughter. Her laughter. Her small hand reaching. We were like you once. Until we learned what we had to become. The warhead powered down. On the herald, Vezal sat motionless. Then, with trembling hands, he ordered a full retreat. In the silence that followed, the Solaris core drifted out of the star's shadow. The battlefield, once destined for annihilation, now echoed with stillness. Sarah stood with Reese in the chamber. Is it over? He shook his head. No. But it started. Echo One dimmed the interface, folding itself back into silence. We are not a weapon. We are a reminder. Wraithlight returned to orbit. Across the galaxy, hybrid enclaves stirred. They had seen the signal. Heard the voice. Felt the pulse. And one by one, the lost began to gather. The Solaris core turned its gaze outward, toward the remnants of war, the bones of old empires, and the quiet stars that had watched humanity fall and rise. This time, they would build differently. Together. The core entered drift mode, silent among the stars. No alarms. No enemy fire. No more war, at least for now. Reese sat alone in the observation chamber, watching the remains of the Elythian fleet disappear into subspace trails. They didn't flee like cowards. They withdrew like soldiers who had glimpsed something beyond destruction, something they didn't yet understand. The hum of the core was softer now. Quieter, like a beast no longer pacing its cage. Footsteps approached behind him. Sarah. Can't sleep? She asked, voice low. I don't think I can anymore, he said without turning. Not after what we saw. She stepped beside him, folding her arms, eyes locked on the window. You stayed linked longer than anyone should have. What did you see? He hesitated. A map. Not of space. Of possibility. Sarah raised an eyebrow. It showed me where all the hidden human colonies drifted after Earth fell. The ones we thought were gone, forgotten. Not dead. Just, waiting. She was quiet for a beat. Waiting for what? For someone to stop surviving and start building. The next cycle, the core broadcast its first autonomous signal, ****, a call ****, encoded in pre-cataclysmic dialects, scattered across dead frequencies and derelict satellites. It said only one thing. We are the architects of unity. If you still carry the spark, return. Responses trickled in. Then waves. From the frost cities of Neptune's shadow moons, from the underground arcs of Vesta, even from ancient Mars catacombs thought sealed forever, ****, they answered ****. Pilots. Scientists. Scavengers. Forgotten military units. All human. All changed by time, struggle, survival. And they came, not with weapons, but with questions. A week later, the Corps held its first summit. In what was once a tactical deck, now reshaped into a sprawling holographic amphitheater, the leaders gathered. Not kings or generals. Just survivors, people who had kept the fire alive in darkness. Sarah stood at the podium, voice steady. You came because you believed something survived. Something more than biology. You were right. We survived. But we need more than survival now. We need direction. She paused, eyes scanning the dozens of faces before her, weathered, skeptical, tired, and hopeful. We were scattered. Broken. Misled. But we are not lost. The Solaris core is not a weapon. It's a seed. We can rebuild, not as nations. Not as factions. But as one. A hand rose in the crowd. A woman from the series Ring Enclave. What if unity costs us identity? What if we become diluted? Sarah didn't flinch. You don't lose yourself in the fusion. You expand. Reese and I both linked in. We didn't vanish, we became more. And now we remember not just who we were, but who we could still become. Reese took the floor next. There are species out there who see us as threats. Others see us as relics. But they're wrong. He projected a star map, zones highlighted in red, yellow, and blue. Areas of hybrid control. Elythian interests. Human ghost zones. We're going to reconnect them all. A murmuring rose. You're proposing a galactic highway, someone asked. Reese nodded. No more isolated colonies. No more hidden fleets. The core can fold space. Small jumps at first. Short-range fusion relays. Then larger. He touched a segment of the map. We start here. The Archon Nexus, the last human-built communication hub before the collapse. It's offline. But if we bring it back, it becomes our spine, Sarah finished. The mission launched that cycle. A hand-picked crew of 20, a new class of modular relay drones, and a support escort, all core-linked. Not completely fused like Kale 9 had been. Just harmonized enough to coordinate without lag, think without miscommunication, move with singular focus. Reese and Sarah watched from the command tier as the first Nexus spire came online. It blinked, blue, then white. Then steady gold. A signal burst across the known systems, Unity Protocol 01 initiated. A message followed, in every old tongue. We remember. We reach. Return. Weeks passed. Dozens of spires activated. The network grew. And with it, the idea of unity began to take root, not by force, but by invitation. But not all were eager. A small sect, the Pale Directive, broke silence from the shattered moons of Delta Ventrix. Their message was blunt. Humanity unified once before. It built Earth. And burned it. We will not join your spiral toward extinction. Reese read the transmission and sighed. We were bound to face resistance. Sarah frowned. They're not wrong. Our past is messy. Which is why we don't erase it, Reese said. We learn from it. Echo One offered a final vision that cycle. In the center of the amphitheater, it projected a living schematic of the core's next evolution, ***, the myriad array ***. A vast structure not built to conquer, but to connect. Not just humans, but any species willing to merge fragments of thought without control. Not assimilation. Collaboration. Will they ever trust us enough? Sarah asked. Reese looked at the diagram. They don't have to. We just have to show them it's possible. In the privacy of the command dome, Reese sometimes returned to the fusion chamber. He'd stand in the center, close his eyes, and listen, not to machines, but to the minds lingering in the core's layers. Kale was there. Not conscious. Not whole. But present in flashes. One day, a flicker pulsed. You made it matter. Reese smiled faintly. We're just getting started. And far beyond the fringe, where stars still had no names, a single Elythian scout watched the newly activated spires forming a luminous arc through space. She didn't report back. Instead, she turned off her war drive, activated a passive relay, and waited. The signal reached her an hour later. We remember. We reach. Return.